Hey you're up. Whoa. Hold up right there, my friend. Ronaldo in a Brazil shirt? Did I just wake up in the wrong universe or what? Okay, let's rewind. Because somewhere out there, in some other timeline, Cristiano Ronaldo never wears red for Portugal. He grows up wearing yellow and green instead. Stick around, because this isn't just imagine Ronaldo on a different team. This is what happens when the most confident, most ego-driven goal machine in football history gets dropped into Brazil's golden generation. Ronaldinho, the Kaká, the Robinho, all of them. And hey, quick thing before we get into it, if you're into these what-if football videos, go ahead and hit subscribe now, because trust me, you don't want to miss the next one. In real life, Cristiano's family stays put on the island of Madeira. A sporting CP scout eventually finds him, and Portugal gets insanely lucky. In our story, his dad takes a job offer that never actually happened in real-life construction work in Sao Paulo, and the whole family packs up and moves to Brazil. And Cristiano's barely out of diapers. Different accent, different childhood, same obsessive kid juggling a sock stuffed with newspaper in a favela alleyway. By the time he's 10, local scouts are already whispering about the Portuguese kid, the skinny kid nobody can tackle. A few confusing meetings later, and just like that, Cristiano Ronaldo signs his first youth contract, not with Sporting, but with Santos FC, same academy of him that built Pelé, and about 7 years later would build a kid named Neymar. Picture it. Ronaldinho is already the main guy in Brazilian football, dancing through defenders with that smile. Kaká is already gliding across midfield like he's got somewhere better to be. And now, this scrawny teenager shows up doing stepovers on people in training who did not ask for that. Ronaldinho doesn't care. He's Ronaldinho. He's basically unbothered by everything, and he kind of becomes Ronaldo's big brother figure. Kaká, on the other hand, is annoyed he just lost his spot as the most disciplined pretty boy in the squad to a teenager who spends more time in the mirror than the gym, which somehow is still a lot of time in the gym. Welcome to Brazil, Cristiano. 2006 World Cup, Germany. Real life, Brazil's so-called magic quartet, Ronaldinho, Kaká, Adriano, and the original Ronaldo. Get bounced in the quarterfinal by France, Zidane pulling the strings, and everybody the golden generation choked. In our timeline, our Ronaldo starts alongside them, still just 21, still raw, but he scores the equalizer against France that never actually happened, and Brazil grinds out the win in extra time instead of going home early. Zidane doesn't get his fairy tale send-off. Somewhere in 2026, Henry's sitting at home like, bro, we had that game won. Brazil wins their 6th World Cup instead of their 5th staying frozen in time, and suddenly nobody's writing think pieces about the golden generation that wasted itself. Now here's the thing. It's not just international tournaments that flip upside down. His whole club career probably looks different too. Maybe Sporting and Manchester United never happen at all. Maybe it's Santos who keeps him a few extra years before Real Madrid comes calling anyway. Because let's be honest, Real Madrid was always going to find a way. And that changes everything after no Old Trafford treble-winning teenager, no Premier League golden boots, a completely different path to becoming the player we know. Real life, Brazil's 2010 World Cup in South Africa was its own kind of disaster. Under Dunga, they went up 1-0 on the Netherlands in the quarterfinal, looked comfortable, and then just collapsed, losing 2-1 in one of the most infamous meltdowns in Brazilian football history. Now picture that same lead, same stadium, except this time Ronaldo is standing right in the middle of it, at his athletic peak, tracking back to actually defend the set piece that Felipe Melo headed into his own net in real life. Honestly, this version of the collapse just doesn't happen. Brazil holds on, wins ugly, and nobody's writing worst Brazil team in history columns. Afterward, Ronaldo in Brazil also changes the whole GOAT rivalry completely. That fight for the Ballon d'Or with Messi was already ridiculously close for over a decade. Now imagine Ronaldo walks into every single one of those arguments with 2 World Cup winners' medals in his pocket that he never had in real life. That's not a minor detail. That's the entire debate tilted in his favor before anyone's even watched a highlight reel. By 2014, the World Cup's in Brazil itself, on home soil, and this is where real life got genuinely brutal. Neymar, the new golden boy, takes a knee to the back in the quarterfinal against Colombia and fractures a vertebra. He's out. Brazil, without him, walks into the semifinal against Germany and gets torn apart 7-1 the Mineirazo. Still the most humiliating 90 minutes in the country's football history. In this timeline, Neymar still goes down the same way, but this time there's a 29-year-old Ronaldo already on the pitch. Still elite, still selfish in the best possible way, dragging the team through the semifinal on pure spite. Doesn't mean Brazil wins it. Germany's still Germany, but 7-1 becomes 3-1, and the country doesn't spend a decade in therapy over a single scoreline. Let's not forget Neymar in all of this. In real life, he's remembered as the guy who carried a golden generation almost entirely by himself, criticized every time he so much as tripped over his own shoelaces. In this timeline, he's forever the guy who had to share the spotlight in his own country, with his own fans, with the Portuguese-Brazilian kid who showed up wearing the exact same number he wanted. That's a complicated legacy. Qatar, 2022. The final everyone talks about to this day. Except this time it's not Messi versus France, it's Messi versus Ronaldo, old rivals. Actual World Cup final. Not just an argument people have on social media about who's better. Neymar setting up chances from midfield the entire match like he's got something to prove, too. I'm not going to spoil how it ends, but either way, the internet does not recover from this one. Every good run has to end eventually, and in real life, it just did. Real Brazil actually got knocked out of this exact World Cup by Croatia on penalties in the quarterfinal. So let's say, in our timeline, it doesn't quite go all the way to that fairy tale final. Ronaldo's 37 now, the legs that used to fly past defenders need a few extra steps just to get going, and Croatia's midfield still swallows Brazil whole in the same way it did in real life. Neymar's the main guy now, and Brazil should honestly still be fine without Ronaldo carrying anything. Except they're not fine. Same story as real-life Croatia grinds it out, penalties happen, and Brazil go home from the quarterfinal instead of lifting anything. Ronaldo's last World Cup ends with press conferences about what went wrong, not some fairy tale ending. Somewhere Ronaldinho's watching from a TV studio, and he is not even trying to hide the smile. So yeah, one job offer in São Paulo that never actually got made. And Brazilian football is never ever the same again. Would any of this actually happen? Absolutely not. Cristiano Ronaldo would sooner learn to samba on live television than swap Portugal for Brazil. And honestly, Neymar probably sleeps better at night knowing this timeline stayed fictional. So drop a comment and tell me which timeline you'd actually want to live in. And if you enjoyed this, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button because there's a whole lot more of these what if videos coming. And trust me, some of the next ones are even more unhinged than this. See you in the next one.